Hello, everyone. I'm gonna do that again. Hey guys, and welcome to Myrna's Workshop, a place for fantasy nerds and wannabe fantasy characters. I am Myrna, or Miranda. I usually go by Miranda. Today I'm going to be making a set of leather bracers. So I bought a leather bracers kit 9 months to a year ago, and when I brought it home, it didn't fit me. It had a good 2 inches that didn't fit, and it also didn't quite fit my husband, who is much larger than me. So I was gonna try to make them smaller to actually fit me. My first idea was to cut out a sliver in the middle and then just glue the 2 pieces together so it would still have the lacing holes, but probably wouldn't have ended very well. And then I saw a picture where they used jump rings for the lacing things. They just sewed some jump rings on their bracers. And I thought that looked really cool. So I'm gonna try to do that. We're gonna do that today. We're gonna adapt some leather bracers to actually fit my teeny tiny arms. So let's get to the project. Okay, so here's our bracers. As you can see, they definitely don't fit. So I'm just gonna try to mark out where I want to trim these down to. As you can see, I don't have a ruler, so I'm using a piece of paper here. It kind of worked. And now I'm just gonna try to trim that off with some leather scissors. As you can see, it didn't totally work. So now I just kind of gave up, and I'm gonna try to use an X-Acto knife. And I'm cutting on the back of my Cricut mat because I don't have an actual cutting mat. And the X-Acto knife is working pretty well. I'm gonna try to match that up on the other side. Still not quite the size I want, so we're gonna just keep trial and erroring it. And I still don't have a ruler, so we're trying to use the paper cutter for a straight edge. And just trim that up on the other side. Wash, rinse, and repeat. This happens a lot. Still not quite the size I want. Just a little bit shorter. And here we go. That looks pretty good. So now we're just gonna put that on the other one. Oh look, a new camera angle and better tools! And between shots I did a little bit of a sample thing here, which made me decide that I needed something besides what I had. And trying to work on the embossing as well. So here we have an edger tool. And a hole punchy tool. And look! A ruler! And a cutting mat. Really upgraded my setup here. I'm just gonna try to even out the edges real quick. And even it up on the other one as well. And here's me trying to figure out how to use this tool. Not quite. Nope. Nope, you're farther away. Oh, nope. Oh, closer, closer. And we got it. I'm just gonna edge every single edge that I possibly can. Make them look nice and pretty. As always, doing it on the other one as well. Oh, and here I figured out that I have the handle on upside down. That's much better. And now time for burnishing. So we're just gonna rub the burnisher over all of our cut edges. Oh, tea time. Now that we have the edges burnished, we're going to seal it up with some beeswax. As you can see by this horrible shot, because what is autofocus, you can kind of see that the edges are slightly less fuzzy as these edges. Oh, we're focusing on my finger here. And here I am getting tools that I don't need yet. Now we're just gonna try to figure out where I want to punch the holes to put my jump rings. So I'm using my trusty ruler here and marking out holes about a ½ inch apart. You can kind of see it here. As you can see, I did another test strip off camera, and I tried to use a burning tool to make the embossing more clear. It obviously didn't work very well. I didn't like how shaky it was. So we're not going to do that. And here I evened up that spacing a little bit more. Now we're going to go in with my punchy tool and punch a lot of holes. And I put down a sheet of fabric so it's not so loud. And here I have all my holes punched on both bracers. Now we're going to start sewing our jump rings on. As you can see, I actually end up skipping every other hole. Punched a little too many. And I make it look more natural later, don't worry. I'm just gonna try to tack down those little edges with some beeswax here. It kinda worked. Kinda didn't. This was kinda helpful. Is whatever. Here we have all the jump rings done. And this is where I figure out that I probably should have dyed it first. But we're gonna go in and punch more holes before I do that. Oh look! More holes that makes the other holes look less weird. I think it looks cool. And now we're gonna work on the embossing, however you say that word. I'll figure it out eventually. So I'm just wetting the leather to make it more workable and going through with my little embossing tool here. I think it turned out pretty okay. And here I tried out the dye I had. So now I'm just rubbing that dye I had all over, which for the professional leather workers, you may notice that that's not dye. We'll get to that later, don't worry. Here I am with some leather sheen because the bottle of the dye I had said that we should cover it with a gloss or something. And this is where I figure out that what I have is currently coming off with the gloss. And it's probably not actually leather dye. Don't worry. I figured it out, and we have some actual leather dye now. Now we're just gonna try to clean off the antiquing gel that I was using. As you can see, decided to just soak it. And I kinda got it clean. It looks a little dead. But, I mean, look how dirty that water is. Now we're just gonna try to dry up some of that water a little bit more. Luckily, I have no shortage of heavy D&D books. Now, time for dyeing. And here's where I kind of give up on those gloves. And here's me reading the bottle and making sure that it's not toxic for my skin. Looks like we're good. And here we are, all dyed up. It's definitely darker than the other color. I kind of like the other color better, but it is what it is. And here it is all dried. The dye made it a little crunchy, I guess is the word for it, but I mean, it's nice. Makes a nice, tough arm bracer. And now we're just gonna finish up sewing down all the jump rings on this one. Here we are, all sewed up on this one. We have 2 finished leather bracers. Time to lace them up and see how they fit. I think they look pretty dope. And now, time for a montage of me trying to be photogenic.
You done?
Yes. Alright guys. Ah! Don't hit the microphone. Alright guys, here's the finished product. I love it a lot. There's nothing like a pair of leather bracers to make you feel like a total badass. Especially with a very poofy shirt. I don't know, it's just nice. Thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sure there's a lot of points where you were screaming at your screen, just wanting to shake me and tell me I'm doing everything wrong, because believe me, I do too. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. It does help. Give it a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more antics of me trying to turn myself into a fantasy character and then failing miserably, because there will be a lot of that. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video, which will probably be in like a month. Bye!